Welcome to Wedding Mayhem. Woo! You brought your dog?
It's not my dog.
I think it's become your dog.
Yeah.
So we have a special guest on today. This is Barney. Hello, Barney.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And you come on our podcast, haven't you? And we're going to introduce your mummy, shall we? We were going to talk to each other, but I don't think we're going to...
You don't really say, how's your week been?
Oh, how's your week been? Sorry.
Very busy. How's your week been?
Busy?
Yeah.
We actually don't want to talk to each other. We actually just want to talk to Barney.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So welcome, Di and Barney.
Hello.
Hello. Can you? We're just going to love your dog.
Yeah.
So can you just introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. So I'm Di. I'm a wedding chaperone, and Barney is my dog. He's one of two. He's 11 and a half year old golden retriever.
Yeah, you're not going home with him. You know that, don't you?
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's doing very well at the minute because he is quite camera shy. So if somebody puts
he doesn't like his photograph being taken.
He doesn't like his photograph being taken. Our other boy, Oscar, loves it. He loves to pose, but Oscar struggles with that length of travel. So basically, Barney's fine.
Yeah, and you've come a long way today, haven't you? You've done so well. So tell us exactly, because you're just not a wedding chaperone. Oh yeah.
No. So
How did it all begin?
So it began when we first got Oscar. So his brother, who's 12 and a half now, and basically I literally got so engrossed in having my own dog. So I've grown up with dogs, but they've been family dogs. Yep. So my mum, my grandparents always had dogs, and they did all the teaching and all the, doing the basic commands and everything. My job really was just fussing them or taking them for a walk.
I'll give you attention.
Barney. So when we got Oscar, so myself and my husband, we came together quite late in life, got a new house, thought, right, we really want a dog.
A dog makes a home, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we can't have children, so literally we thought, well, let's get a dog, there's something else that we can love as much as you do with your kids and everything else. So we got Oscar, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing the best by him. It's all right.
That's right, we're talking about you.
Yeah, it's all right. I wanted to, do the best by him and make sure that whatever we were going to do, we were going to train him properly, we were going to look after him properly, and we're going to have a really well-behaved dog that we could take anywhere we wanted. So I started to learn. Yes and no. So, I think with everything, you have ups and downs. When you're learning, it's all new to that level. I'd never gone into all that depth about training and everything else. And I'm not a dog trainer. I'm just somebody who's passionate about dogs. But we got to know more. I got to understand more of what he liked, what he didn't like, and I really got engrossed in obviously wanting to spend more time with him. I was lucky that the job that I had was home based.
What were you doing?
I worked for the Agriculture and Horticulture Development Board, so I was head of education. Yeah, it's a big mouthful. AHDB, not ADHD.
Wrong.
Yeah. So you've got a number of organisations who come together, and it's all about British farming and helping to support British farming. And I'm a big believer in British farming anyway.
Okay.
So I was very lucky. I worked for them for 16 years. I headed up the education team, and our job really was to produce and develop free resources for schools about food production. So basically, you've got teachers and children who don't always know where their food comes from. Yeah. It's a big issue. So you want to be able to give them all the information so that they can make really good, sound, educated choices for when they grow up.
If you've got the information, you can make educated choices.
Exactly. Yeah. And part of that, because a couple of the organisations, you're dealing with beef, lamb, so you've got cows and you've got sheep and you've got pigs. So it's about the animal health and welfare. So a key role was to help promote about the 5 freedoms and how to take care of animals properly.
Okay.
So that was something that I've always had in the back of my head. So with any animal, you've got to make sure that they're looked after in every shape or form. And I think spending the time with Oscar, and because I was getting dog greedy, I found myself like...
Dog greedy?
Yeah,
What's
dog
that?
greedy. I wanted to like fuss every dog that I could see, meet and everything else. And I thought, time possibly for a change in career. I could see the way things were going, and I possibly didn't like the direction some of it was taking.
Okay.
So I thought, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to look at what else I can do, really.
Okay.
So it was a big step, because I was in a very, very well-paid job with all the perks that come with it.
We've talked about this before. We had Faye Cornhill on from the Business Wedding Group Club, and there is a trend within our industry where we leap from big jobs. I did exactly the same. The pension, the car, the security,
everything.
And it's that leap of faith going, right, I'm going to chuck myself out.
I know. And so it was a huge step. Some of my
scary?
friends thought I was nuts. Yeah, it was. In a good way, I think, though, because I was obviously more ready for it than I thought. So I did a massive amount of research, because we got Oscar in 2012. So 2013, it was sort of like it was that changeover between Christmas and New Year. Yeah. And I love New Year. I get dead excited about what's going to happen and what you're going to do. So basically, I started researching, because I used to see dog walkers, and I used to think, ooh, I could probably do better than that. I used to worry about the fact that they had 6 or 9 dogs. There was only one person on the road.
We were talking about this just a minute ago. Yeah.
It's quite scary. So I thought, no, if that was my dog, I'd want to know that they were being cared for properly.
Safely.
Yeah, safely, and their health and well-being was paramount. So I thought, I'm sure I could do better. So I started to research what was available, and that included, further than my own area, because I'm in Staffordshire, but it included bigger. So I was thinking UK at the start, thinking what's out there, what do people actually offer? And I wanted to look at something that I could offer that was different. Now, for me, we try and take the boys wherever we can. We go to the pub, they come with us. I've had them in meetings.
It's a terrible thing that they make you go to the pub. My doggy does exactly the same. What about yours?
They just love the attention, so anywhere they go.
Yeah. And we're fortunate that we've got a great pub that give them the attention as well as the treats.
Some shops don't let you take the dog in. I got shouted at recently when I tried to take the dog in a shop.
What kind of shop was it?
Probably a food shop.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lee.
But no, it was a clothes and they had a food bit in the back. Matalan.
Yes, you're going to put hairs all over Of course you're not allowed in with the dogs.
But you can take them everywhere now, can't you? I'm just used to being able to take the dog everywhere.
You can take them in a lot more places than what you used to. I mean, that's why we take the boys down to Cornwall. So we go to Cornwall a lot for our holidays. I haven't been abroad since we got the boys, so so we go down to Cornwall because all the shops, shops and cafes and stuff, they're really dog friendly.
Yes.
So I think for me, whilst I was researching, I was trying to look at what was available and what people were offering and what their main focus was. Because I knew mine was always going to be around the health and welfare. So I just wanted to check. And I also was trying to look at, if you take your dog to lots of different places, what are those places and what are the occasions that you'd normally be involved or you'd want them there? And the weddings, I mean, Tony and I didn't have the boys when we got married. Yeah. And to be honest, it is the one regret that I would have loved them to be there.
You can renew your vows.
I know. Well, we may do
great
that.
place to get your dress. I know, great DJ. Yeah. I mean, obviously the dogs love him.
Yeah. So I thought, well, if it was me, I'd want them there on a wedding day, like the most special day, and they are such an integral part of your family.
I've never known this man to be so quiet, by the way.
I love dogs. It's
That's because he knows you're a dog dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought, no, I want to be able to offer that opportunity to make the day a lot more special, because I see what it's like when you've got a dog involved in something. The atmosphere just changes.
My wedding
the dynamics
last Wednesday.
Because your dog is your
your
dog is your family, isn't it? You said that you didn't have children, and these are your children.
Yeah. But also it's a big step for couples. So younger couples that have got a dog, in all honesty, I think it's a great groundwork for when you're going to have children, because with dogs you've got to learn so many things. You've got to learn how to communicate. You've got to learn compromise. You've got to be patient. Responsibility. All that comes with
you've got to
children.
keep it alive. I mean, people say you start with a plant, don't you? I've got no hope of a plant. I killed them all. And, Barney, you're flirting with the camera now. It's not only fans. you know, and but you're keeping like a living, breathing.
Yeah, it's a big
It's
responsibility.
responsibility.
It's a big commitment, and that's one of the things I think people don't always think about thoroughly before they get a dog. We took 2 years to make the decision because it was between 3 breeds. It was either a chocolate lab, a beagle, or a retriever. And we went back to the breeders 2 or 3 times and asked loads of questions, but we also projected ahead as to what that could look like. So you've got to think about costs. You know, I mean, at the moment, because the boys are older, they've got various conditions. We pay insurance, so we're up to nearly £700 a month just for their general care, their food, their grooming, their treats.
So you know, when you go to a wedding, these are things that you'll be asking the couples. You know, are you responsible for the medication on the days?
Possibly.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
So the first step is having a consultation.
Yes.
So you get to know. Really, my consultations tend to be around about 30-45 minutes long. It can be a little bit longer.
That's face to face?
It can be on a Zoom. Yeah. It can be face to face if people want to.
Because isn't it important
COVID,
for you to get to know the dog? Because my dog won't go to everybody.
No.
But you know, to some people, she literally will chuck herself at them. You know. Yeah. So.
But this is just the initial consultation.
Oh, okay.
And then I do a meet and greet.
Right.
Right. And then I do familiarisation sessions. So I build a lot into the package
from the start.
What we do.
Yeah.
So basically, the service that we provide is a bespoke wedding chaperone service, and that's so your dog can attend your wedding. So we take care of all the logistics, the pre, during and post pet care needs.
Right.
We also work with your photographer to get the best possible photographs where your dog's involved.
Yeah.
Because you want the dog there, don't you? But,
that's the reason.
But it is like it's
photographs are your memories, so you do, of course you want them
exactly. And literally that's so that you and your family, so there's no hassle, no stress, no worry, because we're taking care, and then literally all your family can sort of relax and just enjoy the day, safe in the knowledge that we take the lead while they're tying the knot.
I love it.
Very good. But that involves everything that dog needs.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that properly, in my personal and professional opinion, you have to get to know each animal.
Yes.
Because they're all different, they're all unique, they all have different traits and personalities and needs.
Some crazy dogs, like I know. So I've got one.
Well, they're full of energy and full of life. I mean, dogs are such positive creatures, right? So inside they've got all that, oh my God, you know. So at a wedding, that can be 10 times more, even more than that for a lot of dogs. So if you've got a very confident, positive dog who's well loved and well cared for in the family, you can imagine inside they're just about ready to implode, because in a room or in a venue, they've got all the people that they love and who love them all together in one place, right? So that's exciting in itself.
Yeah.
So you want somebody that understands what triggers that dog, what affects that dog in certain ways, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, and how to help keep them comfortable and calm throughout the day. So basically, a chaperone literally is your dog's plus one. So all the logistics are taken care for wherever the dog needs to be collected from, whether that's home, a family and friends,
so
or
will
at
you
the venue.
collect the dog before the day before, or on the day?
It depends on
how does that day look like?
Yeah, it depends on every customer's needs are different. So in some cases, I've been with a dog for 3 days. So I may have gone the day before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they've got a distance. It's all right,
he doesn't want his photograph being taken, Christopher.
It's all right, Bunny.
It's funny with the camera. Mummy's got sausage.
What's this?
Looking at you.
Do we stick you again?
Excuse me.
Yeah, here's sausage.
Yeah,
Here, Lee, we'll give it to Lee. Here you
It's
go.
just a couple of biscuits.
Oh, biscuits. Oh, I've got some kibble. Here you go. Oh, yes.
So I've been with the dog 3 days, where I've spent the whole day beforehand because everybody was at the venue travelling, various other things.
Yeah.
On the day of the wedding, I've transported them to the wedding, taking care of them throughout that time that they're involved. So that can be anything from meeting and greeting guests in the ceremony, ring bearing, mingling through the
Have
drinks
you had the
reception.
dogs do the ring bearing yet?
Yes, quite a lot. So I mean, we've had 255 dogs to weddings so far.
Oh my
It's amazing.
God.
Yeah, and quite a lot of them have been ring bearers.
So how can they? Are there different ways that they can ring bear?
Yeah, I mean,
Can you do
it depends on the dog again, and how much time has been invested in them. So you'll get some dogs. I've had one dog which was a retriever. I'm not completely biased, but it was a retriever. She was a lovely girl, and literally she walked calmly down the aisle to the couple. The best man took the rings off, and she walked back to me. I've had another retriever that's gone like ricocheted.
I've seen a few of those online.
Yeah.
Once you watch one on the internet, they all come up. I love it.
I've had a little miniature poodle, which I think is possibly on TikTok, on our TikTok channel, where literally they've ran down the aisle and jumped into the arms of the groom.
Oh.
So it depends, but a lot of the time I do escort them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I'd be worried if you put
dress.
well, not so much the dress, but if you put the ring on their like collar or wherever you're putting the rings, that they then leg it. My dog would leg it and play chase.
They're never off lead.
I'm thinking of the dress. That's what I'm thinking. Like, obviously the dog's gonna be nice and but it's like, you just think.
I think having your dog at your wedding, that's going to be, and your dog is a jumper.
So, well, that's why you have a chaperone. So basically, we make sure that the dog doesn't jump.
Ah, okay.
And the dog's never off lead.
Never off lead. Okay,
no,
is that really important?
Yeah, very important. Just from health and safety of the dog, for one, because they're in a strange environment.
Yeah.
They can get overstimulated and overexcited.
Listen, when a dog bites you, it's always the dog's fault, isn't it?
It's not. No.
I know, but it's not. But it will always.
But that's how it always seems.
Yeah. The law.
Yeah,
goes
the law
on.
sees it like that. It's all right. And this is because you're getting attention.
Yeah.
You're not daft. So basically, we have the dog secure at all times, unless there's a designated area where they're happy, and the only time they'll go off lead is if I'm happy that they've got good recall and they respond well to me.
Okay.
Which is why in every package we build the familiarisation sessions in. So I have at least 3 or 4 sessions with every dog before the wedding day,
right?
And I have them at least 1 or 2 hours prior.
You got the best job in the world.
It's going to seem like a stupid question for me to ask this, but I'm just going to ask that question. How important are those days? Because there are people out there that are doing this job, but they're not doing that.
I know, and that's the big concern that I have. Okay. For me, it's impossible to understand.
He knows which he knows which cameras more than Lauren does. Look.
For me, it's important. It's paramount, because even if somebody says, because I'm not a canine behaviourist and I'm not a trainer, I never pretend to be. I'm just somebody who's passionate about dogs, and I want them to have the best experience ever. So it's about understanding what makes them tick, really. So it's understanding their personalities, understanding what makes them nervous, what makes them happy, what they get anxious about, what they're scared of. Because these are all things that can happen. So you may have, and when I'm on the phone, the majority of the consultation or Zoom, the majority of that consultation is focused around asking the owners how they see their dog. So what is their dog's personality? What do they like? What don't they like? Even
your
down
dog
to
likes
travelling.
attention.
Yeah, it does. And then basically, it's making sure that I can ask a silly question like, is your dog okay with brollies, with walking sticks, with wheelchairs?
Because my dog's not.
People don't think of those things.
My dog's not okay with people with sticks.
Yeah,
it's her
exactly.
trigger,
and it's a trigger.
Yeah.
And at weddings you can have all of that. Yeah. You can have elderly. You can have some
fireworks, party poppers,
disabled. Yeah, but
the cannons.
Oh, the confetti cannons are the worst.
Even music though, like can trigger some dogs off.
Yeah.
Well,
big
music,
time.
Yeah, exactly.
And ceremony music is like.
Yeah. And also, it's one of the reasons why we don't recommend the dogs being at the evening reception.
100%.
The music is way too loud.
100%.
And dogs' hearing is super sensitive.
100%.
Yeah, so we don't.
Sorry, my dog hears nothing apart from my thought that I'm going to the fridge for cheese.
Yes.
She comes to the cheese tax every single time. She can be unconscious.
They're very clever.
Yes.
So for me, I do worry about that you've said, because I've seen it, and I do, like any competitor, I'm going to do market research. So I always keep an eye on who else is doing it, and I read about what they're providing on their websites and in their social media, and it's very rare I see anybody providing more than 1 session with the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not enough.
It's not.
But it's not enough. But I have to say, as somebody that hasn't even thought about it,
No.
I wouldn't have thought about it.
No.
You know, so this is why I really wanted you on, because you are an expert in your field.
And they don't think about that. And your dog has got to feel comfortable. You know, it's a big day for them. It can be quite overwhelming. So you don't want them stressed because they're with a bit of a stranger. They're with somebody that they're not sure
But then that
of.
makes you stressed as a
But
bride.
as I said, as a couple, you're going to be anxious
Exactly.
as it is.
Yeah,
you know.
they're going to be looking round. I want the couple to look round and have that relaxed smile and happy look on their face because they can see that their dog is happy.
Because this is the
and
one
relaxed
thing
and
at the
enjoying
moment in their
themselves.
life, which is the most
Exactly.
important thing to them, isn't
Yeah.
it? The dogs at that, they are so important to couples. Last week, I had a dog at the wedding. They took the dog in the photo booth for a photo as well.
Oh, no.
But we did that before the evening because I was saying to them, obviously the dog's not going to be here in the evening, so we opened the photo booth early so they could have a photo with their dog.
I love it.
But it was a little
boy.
dog, so they were holding it in their arms.
Yeah.
But
Get Barney and us in the
I can pick him up.
No, you'd need a photo booth.
It'd be
on
like,
you.
it'd be like freemium, but yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone wants to, like, it's a real.
Yeah.
So that's really important, isn't it? The consultation.
is.
So these are flags, aren't they? So
Yes.
if for a couple out there that are planning on having a dog chaperone or having a friend really that's going to do it for them, they need to have that time.
They need to have some sort of regular interaction with your dog. And you need to witness that the dog does feel comfortable, and I think that is important. I mean, there are other chaperones out there that are doing a good job. You know, they will build that in. Some of them, in particular, where they've got their own home boarding, for instance, they'll have the dog staying over a couple of times with them beforehand, so they get to know them and things. You know, a pad for paws is just an example there down south, and they will have them staying over because they're dog boarders, and that's what they do as a main business, and they add that wedding chaperone service as well as
So
another
you
wonderful
need
add-on.
to get the people that are going to be looking after your dog need to know your dog.
Yes, because lots of things, as we said, lots of things can change a dog's personality, and they can get, you know, if you've got a dog. It's difficult with male dogs in particular if they're intact, you know, if they're still entire, and they get over aroused because they get overstimulated at a wedding, then that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be really dangerous.
I know that.
Sorry.
I've got two girls.
This poor boy has had to just read out a question that had the word vibrator in it, and he wouldn't read it.
Yeah, that's.
Oh dear.
But it's because I've got two bitches, and like when you've been over the park when someone shouted out, "Have your dogs been like the dogs
should be on a lead."
Some people aren't there. They're like they just let them go.
Yeah.
And it's like my dogs are always on a lead because I've got my boxer and I've got a bearded collie, and one's shy and one's boisterous.
Yeah.
But they are like when people just they let their dog do whatever they want. But it's like some people shouldn't have dogs.
Yeah, I think it's just because lots of people are busy, and dogs enhance our lives in so many different ways, but we owe it to them to do right by them and to give them boundaries and let them understand what's what. And you can do that through positive reinforcement. You know, there's no harsh methodology required. It's just clear instruction. You know, the worst thing is a lot of people who get dogs, and I've read some statistics recently that's come out. So there's the PAW report that PDSA do every year, and that tells you how many pets are in households and stuff. And at the minute, there's like about, I think they said 10.5 million or 10.6 million dogs in households. Between 38% of those of 18 to 44-year-olds, it's the first animal they've ever had.
Wow.
So they don't know a thing. And a lot of people think dogs come pre-programmed. But it's like having a child. Yeah. They think as soon as you look at the dog, yeah.
Say no more.
Sorry. I'm sure it's the same with wives.
Listen, I was outnumbered on the last episode, so it's
100% you were wrong. 100% you were wrong.
You'll have to watch that episode.
Yeah.
I'm right.
Look back, rewind. So they think they're pre-programmed. So
and they will do as they tell them
toddler.
to.
Yeah, a dog is like a toddler. It doesn't know how to sit. This isn't a natural thing for a dog to do. Set, stay, go down, all those kind of things. It's not a natural thing for a dog to do. So you have to take time to teach them and to for them to learn how they fit into everything, because they're such adaptable creatures. They're amazing. We ask so much of them, which is why on a wedding day, which I'll work with some photographers that have never worked with animals before or never even had an animal, and their expectations are really
sit there,
unrealistic.
Smile, face this way.
They want a dog to sit on a chair, get up on a chair and sit on a chair for like 5 minutes while they put everything else around it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that, because this is a performance for that dog.
Yeah.
This is asking it to do a lot, which is why you want to do it as positively as possible.
Yeah.
You want to, cater to that positive side,
So
so
is
that
this
at least you're getting the best result.
Is this a question that when we're booking suppliers, that you've got to look at what your wedding is possibly going to look like? So we are having our dog, we are having our babies at the wedding, and choosing the right suppliers that are the right fit. So a photographer that has a history of filming with animals.
Working with animals.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I think it's a personal choice, because obviously
you may get a photographer that's allergic to dogs and cats
exactly,
or whatever.
Yeah. So I think it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
It's not a deal breaker, because obviously the couple have got to feel really comfortable with that photographer. Some couples are really shy and they don't want to be in front of the camera too much, so they've got to build that relationship with their photographer, and they might take them on a pre-shoot and stuff like that. But so that's a good way to learn.
I think so. Well, maybe take the dog with you in the pre-shoot.
Yeah.
So we offer that.
So, okay.
So in the package,
that
I offer my time free.
So tell me about your packages then. So
all right.
Let's see.
So standard package is literally, as we said earlier, we take care of all the logistics, handling the dog throughout the time, making sure that they're comfortable, they're getting regular breaks, time out when they need it, because sometimes they do. They just want to go off, shake it off, be a dog for 2 minutes and come back. Plenty of water. Yeah, refreshments, and then we take them back to their final drop-off point.
Water,
so that could be, that could be how. It's all right. It's not the camera.
It is the camera.
Yeah, I'm trying to say he knows when you're as soon as you get the camera up. But yeah, and we take them back to their final drop-off point. So that can be home, where I can stay with them till 9 o'clock at night, or I can stay with them till 9 a.m. the next day.
Okay.
Or it can be dropped off somewhere else. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought now.
Packages,
that's it. So as part of the package, obviously we do the 3-4 familiarisation sessions as standard. So that's
that comes
included.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's included. It's not extra.
And am I right in saying that you won't take a job on unless you can do that?
Yeah, I won't. If somebody says to me, I just want you to rock up on the day, half an hour before, I'll hand you the dog over, and I've turned people away for that reason.
Okay.
Just as I've turned people away who want a dog at the wedding from 9 a.m. in the morning to start with photographs as people are getting ready, right through till the DJ's finished. It's too much for a dog. We normally say
100%.
Yeah, from a health and well-being. But
they don't know dogs then, do they?
No, and I've turned that business away for that reason. I've said this is
because if it goes wrong, it comes back to you, doesn't it?
Well, it's not.
Affecting the dog, isn't
but
it?
I've got insurance for that.
I was going to say, do you have to be insured?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Legally,
again, that's another question to ask. If you're booking in, look at their insurance. Just don't ask the question if they've got insurance. You want to see it.
So basic things that they need to think about is whenever they're choosing a wedding chaperone, first of all, what experience does that wedding chaperone have?
Okay.
Now, when I'm not doing weddings, I'm actually dog walking. So I dog walk 3 to 4 days a week, and I do 2 to 3 sessions a day, and that's on and off lead with a variety of dogs, right? So lots of different breeds and everything else. I also focus very much on ongoing CPD, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can so I can communicate better with every dog. Continuous professional development.
Okay.
So I'm doing lots of coursework on canine behaviour, dog handling, that kind of thing, so that I'm keeping my skill set fresh, and I get to practice that on the dogs that I'm with on a daily basis.
Right.
So that's nice and transferable.
Lucky for the owners.
Yeah, and it's transferable when I
Very
have
lucky
to have a wedding.
Because some people
chaperone.
Want their dog walker to train their dog. And
well, we don't train.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it's two different
We
things.
do basic stuff, and you can help them. You can help the owners in that way, because what you don't want is a dog that's being taken out on a dog walk that's in an environment that they don't really enjoy. They're not enjoying being with the other dogs that they're with. I mean, we take a lot of time to buddy dogs up. So I'll do solo
important.
walks and then do 2 together and then 3. If I've got more than that, it's usually in a secure field.
Yeah.
So I hire a field 2 to 3 times a week.
Amazing.
Because I've got some dogs that never go off lead. So they get a chance to run free with their friends and have a good play and everything. But I'm comfortable and relaxed because I know they're in an environment they can't get out
You know
of.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's important,
I know
though. It's
we keep
important.
jumping because we still haven't finished about your packages.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
No, I know. We knew it was going to be like this, but it's welcome to Wedding Mayhem. But talking about buddy, what if you, because we're just talking about having one dog at the wedding here. What if you've got like a few dogs?
Yeah, so
Have you done that before? Do you have like more than one dog at a wedding?
Yeah, we've had 3.
Wow.
So hubby helps. I've got two
What would we
couple of other friends that
not
would
do
help.
without our partners helping us behind the scenes?
I know.
Our
Tony
support
is a
network.
godsend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's down to him that I'm able to do my dream job, basically, because I was the main moneyer. And then I left that well-paid position to start a business, which I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I had an idea, but you're always nervous, aren't you? Because you think, what if people don't actually want
what
it?
if I
There
have
isn't that need
taken
there.
leave of my senses?
Yeah. So I mean, he was, and he's
Supportive.
fantastic. He's very supportive, and bless him, he helps me out. He's got his own career, but on weekends he comes to the weddings.
Yeah.
He'll help me out with the dogs. He gets to know the dogs beforehand. He'll come on the familiarisation
Okay,
sessions, and he'll take photographs and stuff while we're there and stuff. So
Fab.
it's really nice.
So more than one dog.
More than one dog,
How does
so-
that look at a wedding?
Yeah, so again, it wouldn't just be me, it would be Tony, or we've got other friends that we can rely on that have dog walking experience. They have got their own business that they're dog walking, or I've got a dog trainer and a friend who's done, she does a lot of voluntary work. So I've got other people who I can rely on that actually have lots and lots of
And
experience.
what's your experience of
dogs.
having more than one dog there? Is it better? Is it tougher?
It is because
Your eyes must be everywhere.
You've got to be uber alert, and obviously the time taken to get to know them has been beneficial. It's invaluable because you know exactly how they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've just got to be uber alert. But we are all the time anyway. The focus. I couldn't tell you half the stuff that goes on at a wedding because I'm that busy focusing on the dog,
Watching the dog,
and it's just that immediate area. But I have to be alert as to what's going on and what's changing. So things like the confetti walk can be a nightmare if they've got confetti cannons and stuff like that. I have to get the dog away because obviously when that goes off, it's a fight or flight situation. And they
My
can
dog at
bolt
home, we can't
even on a lead.
Yeah, we can't even do like party poppers. She is diving for cover.
Yeah, and they're allowed, as I know from experience doing the confetti cannons. But then, like we when we do we make sure if we did see the dog that we'd be like, need to
Take
make
the dog
sure,
away,
can you take the dog? It's going to be a loud
So
noise.
it's obviously really important that probably you need to know the schedule.
Yes. So I prepare a schedule within the quote based on what we've talked about and what I've learned about the dogs.
Barney's like, I've heard this before.
Yeah, he's bored. It's like, she goes on and on.
I'm enjoying the rest.
Yeah. So we talk about it and we communicate regularly, and then I double check everything before the day so that we know exactly. And plus I send a schedule to the venue along with my PLI certificate so that they can see that we've got the insurance and everything. And I'll have done a risk assessment. A lot of the venues I know, but I have a risk assessment.
So will you go to the venues beforehand?
Yes.
Is that how important is that as a chaperone?
Very important, I would say.
So if your chaperone's not going, then that's a red flag.
Yeah, so asking things like, sorry, it's back to your original question. So ask about their experience. How, have they had dogs themselves? I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, but I think it's a very different vibe when you've got somebody who has dogs and understands what's involved in caring for dogs. Do they have a lot of experience outside of weddings? How many weddings are they doing? If you've got somebody who's only doing one a year, why?
Yeah, it's a hobby then, isn't it?
Yeah, have they got insurance and what level of insurance have they got? Have they got pet first aid training?
Talk to us about pet first aid because I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, so
Do you know how to do CPR on a dog?
No, but
you need to learn
it's
it.
things you need to.
Do you know what you've just said that? And I'm like, thinking, yeah, we need to know.
So I'll give you an example. I on a daily dog walk, I've got Ralph, who's lovely. He's a gorgeous Labradoodle, and basically he suffers with epilepsy.
Right.
And if he gets overstimulated, he can have a seizure.
Yeah.
So that can happen at a wedding because it's very stimulating. So you need to know what to do if a dog has a seizure.
Yes.
And you need to do it calmly and collectively so that people don't panic and the dog doesn't panic.
And they come out of seizure slowly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think having pet first aid, even if it's just a basic
that's really
certification.
emotional. Yeah. Because I'm just thinking, oh my God, because if you can you imagine being up.
It's quite
your
upsetting.
vows and then seeing your
it's
dog
more
have a
common than you know, probably.
Yeah.
Have dog with epilepsy. My family members' dogs got epilepsy.
Yeah, and it's a horrific thing to witness. So you can imagine for the dogs, that's frightening, and you have to be calm. You have to be able to deal with those kind of situations.
Around you as well, people.
So basic pet first
we're still
aid.
here, Tate.
She's still talking.
I know.
That's what he's saying.
And it helps with different ages. So, I mean, I've had a dog that was 15 and a half, lots of different ailments. He was a beautiful old staffy that had had a really tough start in life. He'd been used for dog baiting, had the mental and physical scars to show for that. But he was on various medication. I had to understand what he was capable of, to what level, but also being pet first aid trained, I could administer any medication comfortably, but also I know, sorry. It is
I just
upsetting,
hate
you know.
it. My dog's a rescue. It's a Romanian rescue, and she was found down a drain. They were trying to drown her, and she was bones when they found her, down with 2 pups. It's horrific what people do to dogs.
It is. But what's equally amazing is the people who then
dogs are your world, aren't they?
people who then take on that dog and give it a wonderful life.
Yeah.
And to top it all, they have it at their wedding.
Yeah.
So how wonderful is that when they build the dog's confidence and they change that dog's life for the better, and then they can literally have it with them on their day.
Yeah.
So I think, but having somebody there that's got knowledge and experience of what to do if there is an emergency and your dog needs to, you need to administer first aid, you're there. You've got somebody that can do it. DBS checked. You've got somebody that's coming into your house.
I wouldn't have even thought about that, because you think about that for children.
Yeah.
But why?
Well, why wouldn't you think about it? Because they're going into your property potentially. I mean, I go to somebody's house, and a lot of the time I stay over. Yeah. A lot of the time I stay over.
At the people's houses.
Yeah. So I'm there in their home.
We'd get the wine out.
No, you're not there, Sharon.
You're not there.
I'll get married again.
You're the bride and groom.
And you're doing the wedding
Again.
Yeah, you're at the venue.
Stand tall, John.
I'm there in your home looking after your fur baby. So basically, I'm there in your house. But also at a wedding, you can have children there.
Of course.
So you can have the elderly, you can have disabled, you can have people who have learning difficulties. So you've
There
got
is
somebody
a lot
that you can trust.
that you need to be thinking about.
And I've had a DBS check for, probably 30 years with the jobs that I've had previously.
Of course, and
especially being in education.
Yeah.
I had to have that. So I've just continued with that as well. So that's another thing that you need to look for.
Yeah.
And just literally get to know your chaperone. I mean, I'm more than happy for anybody to come out with me on a walk with their dog. I try and say to them on the first walk, let me walk your dog first, because I want to see what they're like and how they respond to me. Because if you're there as a dog owner and you come out, take your boxer out, the first thing that's going to happen is he wants to respond to you. He won't listen to me because Dad's there, so you're the priority. He's got no loyalty to me because he doesn't know me yet. So I want to build that relationship with them. So find, and just ask a lot of questions. How transparent are they on the website? We try and be as uber transparent as possible. So I've answered loads of questions on the website. If you go onto the FAQ, it tells you everything, as much as I can think as a dog mum that I'd want to know if I was hiring a wedding chaperone. And be crystal clear. Your prices should be on there. Your packages should be on there. If there's any extras that you're expecting them to pay, that should be on there. But answer all the questions, of what's actually involved on the day. And what does that look like? So I think those kind of things are key.
Transparency is key,
transparency is very much key, especially because you're looking after somebody's dog.
You don't want people to go, oh no,
it's not just a dog though. This is their
precious.
Their world.
They're the world.
If they're having them at their wedding, they're like, do you know what I mean?
It's the family unit, isn't it?
It's in some cases it's the whole. It gels the whole family together. You've got a lot of dogs these days are therapy dogs, especially since COVID. They are a massive part. And they're integral to that family unit performing well.
You wouldn't have just anybody looking after your children. You hope not.
You'd ask those questions, wouldn't you? You delve into it. They can't tell you. They can't tell you what's wrong. And a lot of people say, a dog, you can tell when a dog doesn't like somebody. Dogs are like people. They have good days and bad days. Yeah. So they may have a day where they're a little bit off with somebody. That doesn't mean to say that person's bad. Yeah. But until you spend time with them and your dog spend time with them, how do you know?
Yeah, they've got to suss you out.
Yeah.
Haven't they? Really? Intuitive.
You can tell I got a dog.
Relaxed.
You can tell I got a
dog. But this is great because he's relaxed. If he wasn't relaxed, Barney would let you know. He wouldn't have stopped barking. Yeah. And we'd be sat with his nose against the door.
Going. The camera's out, you see.
No,
he knows.
She said his name. That's what it was.
Oh, Barney, we said your name.
It's all right, boy.
Yeah, the camera's come out. He's like barking. I'm now going to set the firework off now. What is your biggest concern within the industry?
Lack of legislation, generally. So I think...
We're talking about government.
Yeah, completely. So I'm a member of the Pet Industry Federation, which is the main trade organisation for the pet industry. So they cover everything, from whether you're a pet retailer through to a dog groomer or a boarding and everything in between.
So if you're employing a chaperone at your wedding for your dog, should they be a member? Is that one of the green flags?
It's a difficult one because there's no legislation that says you have to be.
But is it a good sign if they are?
It's a standard that could be set.
Okay.
So I think for me, there's a big step for the government to take in relation to general dog care anyway. A lot of things have changed over the years. 2018 and the Pet Industry Federation were involved in this. There's a group of organisations that help inform government and educate government about how the law should change to make things safer. So it happened in 2018. The legislation was changed around dog boarding and kennels.
To how?
To make it a lot more strict.
Okay.
So how many, people to dog ratio, what your buildings were like, what security was in place, what training did they have, all that kind of thing. And a lot of places closed down because of that.
Right.
I think it should be the same. And some of my dog walking friends are going to hate me for saying this, but a lot of them do agree with me, is that it should be legislated.
You have two new friends.
Friends. Say friends.
Yeah. It should be legislated. So
Okay.
it's not. No. So when I started,
So anyone
can start.
But it's like
a dog walking or a wedding chaperone.
But that's
service.
like our industry. There is such a low bar of entry, isn't there?
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
could wake up and go, right. And we have done.
I've got speakers. I've got from what I do. I'm a DJ now, and they go and do it. And, you need insurance. I haven't got insurance.
Yeah, today, Matthew, I'm going to be, and so anybody can pop up and do it.
And that's what's scary. Our company ethos is to provide safe, consistent and high quality experiences for our four-legged friends and their owners.
It's the most important.
And to do that,
thing.
you have to have the right things in place.
Yeah.
Now, I think when I first started, I contacted our local authority to purchase a licence, to become unchecked and purchase a licence for dog walking. They
I've
said,
got nothing to hide.
You don't need one.
Yeah.
And I went, but I'd like one, so that it proves that I've actually been risk assessed.
It's your
and checked
diligence.
and everything. No, we don't. You don't need one. You need one if you're a dog. If you're a home boarder. If you're boarding dogs, you need one. That's legal now since 2018.
Okay.
You've got to have that. But to walk,
And how
a
easy
dog,
is that to get?
It's not that easy. There's a lot of changes that you've got to make at home to make sure that you fit that criteria.
Right.
So there's quite a lot to go through, and they'll come out and they'll risk assess you and everything. So, and there's a standard. So it's a bit like hygiene where you can get 5 stars. You can get 5 stars in dog boarding.
Okay.
And that depends
But
on
you can
what
still
you've
do
done.
it though if you've got 1 star.
You can still do it if you've got 1 star, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
That's like a restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you look at 2 restaurants, you wouldn't go to the one, you'd go to the 5, wouldn't you?
I suppose the thing is they've got to have those basics in place. So they've got to
I think if you're
risk
choosing
assess
between
themselves.
chaperones, maybe.
Yeah, but it could be that 5 star is because they've got more staff and they're doing really good training and they're doing onward training, so that they may have the basics in place, as in their place is secure. They've got the right amount of doors before the dog can escape. They've got the right sort of smoke detectors because they talk to each other depending on which room they're in, the remote control. It's those things. So there's a level of basic, requirements that's got to be had. But then a 5 star could be because they've extended and they've added on a doggy pool or whatever. But they've got
doggy
people
poo,
in there.
what?
A doggy pool.
Pool.
Like a swimming pool.
I know what she meant.
I was thinking like a
It's
doggy
the accent, all right? Calm down.
A doggy
She said,
poo like thing.
no,
I think it was like a little
pool.
toilet, like a,
We say pool, they say pool. Yeah, that's what it is.
And they could have somebody working in that pool all the time looking after the dogs. That's just an exaggerate. That's
I
big.
want to go to this place that's got a pool.
If you want to swim with dogs, you're more than welcome, right?
yeah. So it depends, but
Okay.
I think for me the best thing that can happen is that it's legislated. But then I'm from an era when we had a family dog, you had to have a license.
Do we not need a license? Well, I'm saying I'm a dog
You
owner.
don't need a dog owner.
No
you don't have
way.
to have a license.
Yeah, but
I forgot
pre-COVID, there wasn't many. Now, when you drive anywhere, you'll see at least 5 dogs being walked.
I think
every time you go out.
Well, the Paw report said, I think last year, 10.6
Paw
million.
report,
I know
I love
that's what
that.
they call it.
Yeah, it's legend, that is.
10.6 million dogs in households. But that's just been, I think it's being corrected. I read something this week that I think it's the Dogs Trust and a number of other organisations have looked into statistics, and they've located another 4 million dogs on top of that.
Located?
Wow.
Where I
don't know where they've done it, but they've said the figure's around about 14
We've
and a
got
half
a
million
game to come
in-house
on,
sales.
so we'll get that on in a minute. But it's a wheel, and I'm just asking you, is he worried about noises?
He's not too bad.
We'll find out.
We can try. Yeah, he's not too bad.
He's okay.
He's not easily phased, whereas Oscar would be a bit like this.
He's looking at
Barney's
Christopher
usually quite
coming on.
nonchalant and quite, he's like, I'm all right.
Sausages.
Yeah.
The wheel's behind you.
Oh gosh, right, okay. So
There we go. So give that a spin. What would you change about the industry while you're spinning that?
that main thing, really,
Yeah.
the legislation
Yeah.
for me,
Not
and
bothered.
I think even the venues getting involved and asking the questions of the people who's going to
Oh, Di.
What's this?
Gossip.
Gossip from a wedding.
Come on.
From a wedding?
I feel you have it, yeah. Things that you've seen, doesn't necessarily been at weddings that you've seen.
Well, things that have
but
happened to me, I suppose, would be one thing that happened to me. Which,
You don't need to keep it clean.
It wasn't, unfortunately, for me. Basically, the couple's dog that I was looking after, a beautiful little dog, I knew that he had a stair phobia, but I thought that was
Stairs.
coming downstairs. So this particular building, this venue where they were getting married, it did have a lift, but he didn't want to go in the lift. He was terrified. So I thought, I've got to carry him upstairs because the ceremony was upstairs.
What kind of dog was it?
They don't know that this happened, so if I tell you what it was,
Oh, okay.
and they watch this, I might tell you later.
We're not
but
that well
basically,
known
It was
yet.
a dog that I could lift. It was a dog that I could carry.
Right.
Jack Russell?
No, don't go. So he's going to go through all the breeds. So it was a dog that I could carry, and I started walking up the stairs. Bearing in mind, this dog was in the ceremony, right? And the poor little thing was that scared. He shat all down me on the way up the stairs. So I'm waiting up the stairs.
And we're not talking about like
no, it
proper
was-
formed poos, are we now? Are we talking
Not
runny
really.
poos?
It was a mixture of both.
Oh.
So with a few popping down the stairs, but stuff all over me.
Look at all these Maltesers.
Yeah. So basically, I was like, and we had to go into the ceremony. I had about 3 minutes, and the events manager, she was brilliant. She had got air freshener, and we had, luckily enough, when I'm carrying my wedding bag, I have things like wet wipes and all that, everything that you can think of.
Every person in the wedding industry has
Wow.
a bum bag.
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah. So I had wet wipes. So she's here cleaning off my blouse.
That's a good
And
manager.
spraying me with air freshener, and then walking around spraying the atrium with air freshener because obviously the guests were going to be coming back out whilst one of her girls was cleaning the stairs.
You gotta say which dog it is now. Come
And I'm
on, come
here
on.
wiping the bum, wiping the dog's bum, and then throwing the tissues at her just as the door opens for me to walk the dog in. And I'm sat there at the front and I'm thinking, these people beside me and behind me must smell the fact that this dog has pooped all over me.
At least you can blame the dog.
No. I like thinking, oh my God, she's just farted.
Just point to the dog.
She's been on the huel.
Oh dear. So to this day, they don't know. They didn't know about that.
And
We kept it
this
secret.
is the importance of getting the A team at your wedding.
Yeah.
You will never know what happened. And things will happen no matter how many.
Every wedding, something happens.
Something happens.
Every
No
wedding.
matter how well you've planned, no matter if you've got the best of the best of the best,
But
things
you still
will
delivered
go
though.
wrong.
You still walked down that aisle.
Oh, they wouldn't have known. I was smiling. Inside, I was crying. I was
love my
thinking,
job. I love my job.
Oh my God, I hope they can't smell it. Please don't smell it.
It's not me.
And then I'm looking at the little dog and I was like, I'm like, you're okay. Please don't shit in the ceremony. Don't do it. Don't
On
do
the white
it, boy.
carpet. On the white.
Yeah.
Oh.
So and then we went and that was it. They didn't know. They still
So
don't know
top
to
tip
this day.
here is to watch your dog's diet before, or fast the diet.
And he had been out for a bit. So one of the things we do is
do.
is that
Is
we
make
take-
sure that
they
does
do.
do.
Yeah.
But now you
We
double
take-
make sure that we've already go down the aisle.
Yeah.
So they double do.
Do they check with you though that you're ready? Because I know we always check with the bride ready, like, and then they're like, because obviously the dog's coming down as well, or part of it. Do they? Are you ready now? Because the registrar's got on
That's
a
the
time
point.
schedule. Like, is it all like because the music's ready, the groom's at the front, he's been to see the
Everybody's sat
registrar,
down.
everyone's ready,
Yeah.
and then it's like, well, is the dog ready? Did they check with you? Is that something that you...
Yeah, I'm fortunate that most of the venues are really good. The events managers will check and just make sure that everything's okay. But we try and make... That's why I pick the dog up early. I give it a good run and play beforehand so that it gets rid of some of that excited energy.
Yeah, because it's in a new place as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well, we try and say part of the familiarisation sessions, I encourage the owners to take their dogs to the wedding venue to get used to it. So if they're going for a planning meeting, they could take their dog with them so the dog can get a sniff around.
Ever have that where the venue have said you can't bring the dog to the wedding, and a couple are like, they've arranged everything, but that venue have said no.
It's the one thing that I ask them during the first consultation. I'll say, so most of the venues I know in my own area, I know which ones do allow dogs and to what level, because that's a frustrating thing at the minute. I find that some venues will say they're dog friendly, but what that means is that they'll allow them outside, so you can't have them in the ceremony or anything. Yeah. So they're not really uber dog friendly. They're just allow dogs on site.
So for couple, when you're looking at your venues, please ask your venues where your dog can go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, be respectful and let the registrar or the celebrant know that the dog is going to play a part in the wedding. So a registrar in particular, not so much a celebrant, because they may only have that one wedding that day because they tend to do a longer service and it's more involved. But the registrar might have 2 or 3.
They do like 2 or 3.
And what they don't want to have is the wedding being disrupted. Yeah. So they need to know, they need to feel reassured that they've got a professional dog handler that's looking after the dog. Right. That if the dog goes in and if they're sat at the ceremony and they're at the front, and then all of a sudden your dog starts to get really vocal and gets twitchy and wants to leave, somebody should be there to take the dog out quietly so that it doesn't stop the wedding. Yeah. This is why registrars in particular, you can imagine...
They're a funny bunch, some of these registrars, and they can they can stop your wedding. They can refuse to marry you at any point.
They can. And if you can imagine, this is why I try and encourage couples, if they've got a dog that can be a little bit more excitable, let me walk them down the aisle with the rings, or get the best man to come.
Don't take his photo. You've got to ask his agent first. Buddy, come here, buddy.
Hello,
You're all right. Okay. Sit down, good boy.
He just knows when that camera's coming out, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like taking a picture of me. But yeah, so the registrar's thinking, and if you've got a dog that just runs, can you imagine, launches themselves at the bride and slides down the dress and rips the dress. Yeah. So then the wedding has to stop. Right. You've got a bride in tears, upset, the registrar has to sort everything out. Yeah. And then that's a knock-on effect for their next wedding. So the registrars, yes, they are strict. Yeah. I've had one situation where one registrar, she was adamant she hadn't been told by the couple that the dog was in the wedding, and she was not going to do it.
Wow.
I was nearly in tears because I out of respect for the registrars, I always go and introduce myself and introduce the dog and say, this is what we're planning to do, because then I work with them, because if it's a surprise, which we do quite a lot, the guests might not even know that the dog's coming.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and it's nice. And then what the registrar will do, they'll say, well, now come to the giving and receiving of rings, and we've got a very, very special guest to do that
that's
for
when
you.
You get everyone part of the wedding.
Yeah. And that's when the dog comes in.
Yeah.
So I always go and introduce myself to the registrar and say, this is who I am, this is what's going to happen. Yeah. If they won't settle, please be reassured, I'll come round the outside and I'll take hold of the dog and I'll take him outside and calm them down before anything else happens. But this particular registrar, she was adamant she hadn't been told by the bride and groom. She was really horrible. I come out, I was nearly in tears. I thought, what am I going to do? So I caught the groom before he was going in for his interview, because she said, I will explain this to the groom when he comes in for his interview. And I'm thinking, what a horrible thing to do. This guy could be really nervous.
Because that meeting with the registrar is really quite scary.
They're very strict.
Yeah. And this particular registrar was going to tear a strip off him before he was going to get married. It was the other way around, because I told him and I said, I'm really sorry. I hope I haven't put my foot in it, but I'm very upset because I'm not sure she's going to let it happen. And he went, it's fine. He was as calm as a cucumber. And he went in and he went, doggy's in the wedding.
Head massage, there we
go. The dog will be taken
My
apart.
doggy loves this.
We have been told. I've got the email to prove it. And he showed her on his phone. Yeah. And he went, let's carry on. Yeah. And that was it. And she did, but the venue even complained about her because of her attitude was really bad.
I love it when the bride and groom, I've had it at a wedding, something I've done before, and the bride and groom, the bride had got an email, and the bride, she pulled her phone out of her bra once to show a venue that, because they said you can't do the special effects for their first dance. We don't allow that here. Yeah. She said, I've got an email from the owner to say I can. Carry on, Lee. I love it. I'll never forget it. So when the brides have that, or the grooms, it's perfect. And
I think that's key, isn't it? Make sure that you have everything written down. Make sure you've got it in writing.
Yes.
So on the day there's no...
Yeah, there's no hiccups, and I think and it's my job as well to make sure that the venue is okay with that, which is why I always contact them beforehand, and I say this is what we're planning to do, and I give them the schedule of what the dog is going to be doing, what time we're going to arrive, what activities they're actually participating in, that they're meeting and greeting, they're going to be the ring bearer, they're mingling, and then we're going to be leaving at such and such a time, so they know exactly what to expect from me. And then I give them the opportunity to say, can you let me know if anything has changed? Do you need me to park anywhere differently? Is the dog, are they more limited than what they used to be?
Asking permission. Was that head massage too good? Did you see that? My dog loves a head massage.
Had the same effect on my
husband.
husband.
Give us another spin. Oh, it's fallen in the water.
Put him to sleep.
I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. Do you want one?
No. I'm a head massage.
I'll take you with me to go to the wedding.
I do a good head massage. I do. There we go. Oh, spin it again because we've just had that one, yeah. First kiss.
Oh. My first kiss.
Not with a dog.
Yeah, I kissed so many dogs actually. It's frightening.
Your first kiss?
Oh my gosh. It was...
Again, you don't have to tell us the truth.
No, it wasn't. I feel bad because I can't remember his surname.
You don't need a name.
We're hoping it's not your husband.
No, it wasn't. No, I was 13.
Yeah.
And I can remember... Malcolm was his name, and I can remember
I married a Malcolm.
Did
what
you?
did you say one? Yeah.
How funny!
One? Yeah, we called him George. He was called Malcolm, but we called him George.
They're not together anymore.
Yeah, but he was 13, and I can remember it was weird because we found this little sort of like shed thing. I can't remember it. It was probably one of those things where they store not trays, but possibly trays, because there was rungs that you could put things on, but they went up. So we started going up the rungs.
Yeah.
And every time we got to the third rung, we had to give a kiss. And that was my first kiss.
Cute.
Yeah, Malcolm, but I can't remember his surname.
13. When was yours?
I don't know, actually. It's a long time ago. I never even thought that. 15?
Stop it.
Probably. I loved me back then as a boy. I loved me football. Like, I was into football. Like.
Only a kiss. I didn't do anything else.
11.
Yeah.
Right, let's squiggly out. We're going to answer some questions for the public. So do a lucky dip.
Fingers crossed. Get good.
Yeah. Right. So. All right, so this says, to stay within budget, I chose a date around the holidays to take advantage of the sales and bought everything at a reduced price. I'm doing my own decorations, bridal party gifts, dessert table, invitations, favours, etc. Anything creative I can do myself, and I'm doing myself. I chose a venue that allows bring your own, or buy OB. I think bring your own booze.
Yeah.
As long as we pay for the bartender from their preferred caterers. So
cool.
It's not exactly a question, but it's just
it's a top tip, isn't it? Yeah. And I mean, that's a lot of work to take on.
It's a lot of work.
So, yeah.
But I've seen that change so much since COVID. And what's been nice is that the couples have been interacting with each other more because they're getting involved. The man and the woman are actually making things together, which I think is really lovely.
But on the day, it's a lot to coordinate, isn't it?
I would still say it's better having somebody doing it for you because there's no stress.
A lot of venues are dry hire, and they're brilliant.
Yeah, the dry hires, I bet.
Yeah. I think that's good,
Test our flowers for...
Test out flowers for hair before the wedding. Yeah.
Again, not...
He's got
so a good thing here, when you're thinking about involving your dog...
Yes.
There's quite a number of flowers and foliage that are toxic for dogs. So I would always recommend, if your dog's going to be wearing a flower collar or a little...
Do many people do that?
not as
I've
much.
seen the flowers in the collars.
Yeah,
thing.
so
It matches the bouquet.
a popular thing is the bouquet shots where they've got the dog's face and you've got the bouquets around them. That's fine as long as it's just for a few seconds.
Oh, the bridesmaids bouquets. Yeah. I
But what you don't want is the dog chewing on them.
How cool is that?
Isn't it?
The dog's head on the flower.
Yeah, it's like a halo.
So you get the dog to sit and focus probably on a sausage or a piece of chicken and focus here, and then the bridesmaids put the flowers around them and the photographer takes it from above. So you've got the little face peeping through all these flowers.
I don't think people the flowers and the bridesmaids and the bride, they don't use them enough. I don't think in photos. I think that's brilliant.
We use them. Because we take part of the package is we take photographs and videos of your dog's day throughout the time that
my God, so they get another lot of photos.
You didn't mention that. That's another
Sorry.
You're a dog content creator. It's a thing. Copyright.
So we take from their perspective, because your photographer is concentrating
how your dog
on you.
sees.
He's got a GoPro on his collar, and as he's walking along.
Well, there is a lady in Wales that has a GoPro. So we used a GoPro when I worked in AHDB. So for health and welfare, we did a campaign where we were promoting dairy, and the cows wore them so that they could see how cows interact with each other. It's great.
I love it.
So I would say GoPros are great. I don't use them. Doesn't mean to say I wouldn't.
You get the floor because it's gone round them.
It's health and welfare. So
stress, in it. It's called stress.
So they can be quite weighty, some of them. So that on a harness for a dog, it can be a bit annoying. So as long as you've practiced, because the lady in Wales is doing great, she's doing a great job with that. But she's got, again, when you read her stuff,
was the dog wearing one
health
when
and
it was
welfare,
on the collar?
You know, as a
when
priority.
It pooed on you, was it wearing a
No.
GoPro?
Listen, the man behind the camera is shouting at me, so we've gone way over time.
Oh no, sorry.
So we do need to round up. But into this camera here, where can everybody find you?
So we're online. So we've got a website, which is That's Pawfect Wedding Chaperone. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. That's Pawfect, and we're on TikTok.
Fantastic, definitely.
Wow.
Book this lady.
Thank you so much.
No, we've learned
Loved
so
it.
much, and we can pass that on as well. And I know for you
Loved
too.
it.
There's lots more tips on the website. We have got a blog
we'll
which
have you
talks
back.
about that. So.
I think we definitely have you back. If you've got any questions for Di, either
send them through.
send them through to her or send them to me, and then we'll pass them on. I know we need more time. Thank you again for doing everything you're doing. Without you, our lovely suppliers cannot work. You know, they need your support. So just give us a little tick, give us a little like, and we'll share, and we'll see you all back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.